I'm Nick Donaldson, lead designer of VR.
And I'm Jerome Plateau. I'm the art director.
Robo Recall, it kind of started off with the idea. I guess we started off with Bullet Train, and it was kind of the inspiration that led to Robo Recall.
So we wanted to make sure, first of all, we shoot at robots. We don't want to offend anybody, and we want to make sure we're not creating any like murdery simulator or simulation.
We just wanted to all be about fun, high intensity, action-packed, ridiculous, over-the-top fun.
Yeah, very arcadey things. So, and on top of it, we're like, okay, what should we destroy? Let's kill the robot. And then instead of being the good guy who kills all the bad robots, we're actually kind of like the bad guy because we're recalling the robots who try to
So kind of our little inspirational backstory that we kind of built was that the robots somehow they spent too much time on the internet and they kind of became self-aware, watching too many cat videos and stuff like that.
Reading Twitter and interacting on
like the Microsoft AI that became egregiously offensive to everybody. And so
they became self-aware kind of, and then they start to say, okay, we want to revolt, which was one of the first ideas for the name of the game.
And so you're the employee of Robo Ready, which is like the world's biggest robot manufacturer. And the recalls department used to be paperwork. You used to fill out boxes and send parcels and all that kind of stuff. What is it that Tommy said? It was you used to push lead through a pencil. Now you push it through the barrel of a gun. So
and Robo Ready is kind of like they own everything. So there's cars that are branded Robo Ready. Lots of buildings are
stores,
everything is Robo Ready. So it's like a big corporation that owns a lot of things. So the idea is like you get promoted to actually
quote unquote
to actually an underfunded department. So Robo Ready tries to keep that recall issue and all those robot going rogue kind of like on the low side. And
they basically had like a government mandated recall system. And they're taking care of everybody by, there's like your employee number 34, and you're the only employee. And this is the recalls department.
Yes. Yeah.
You are the recalls department.
Bullet Train was a good training for us. We had a good sense of like, okay, what is our budget, and then still try to find a good balance between a good visual and stick with the budget. So having that experience was a big benefit.
Knowing what your limitations are before you push them is a really good thing to know. And so, like you were saying, the Bullet Train let us know what those limitations were. And then we tried to work around a lot of those limitations as much as we could. So, for example, we've written, based on a lot of the helping work from Oculus, a whole new forward renderer for VR.
That makes things a lot sharper, and then we can afford more transparency now. It's a good one.
It means previously we used temporal anti-aliasing as our anti-aliasing method. Unfortunately, that kind of softens the image a lot, which for a normal game is usually just fine. But in VR, when you have such a limited amount of resolution on the displays,
you want to make sure it's as sharp as possible in the headset. It feels very satisfying. Yeah.
So it took a lot of work.
And also in the art style, like we know reflection looks good, so might as well put some wetness on the floor.
Let's just make the whole thing wet.
Make sure that the robots are all shiny and so that all the little thing that helps. Knowing the engine, what is its strength, and then also knowing the budget, combination of two. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So the little tweaks that I'd done to Bullet Train was basically just me doing a couple of tweaks, and refining a lot of the tutorial-based stuff. You'd be amazed how complicated it is to find just the right words to tell someone how to do something.
That's what we're still doing right now.
We're still doing that right now, yeah. We're kind of going on the 5th and 6th iterations on telling someone how to spin their stick around. It sounds simple, but it's trickier than you'd think. But when we made the transition to Robo Recall, that was actually just after GDC.
After GDC, yeah. After GDC, we were like, okay, green light, let's go. Let's do a sequel for Bullet Train.
We had our pitch. We had our green light meeting with the execs.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, what can we do, and how much things we can keep from Bullet Train and move on to something bigger.
So I
would say around February. Like March?
It was March.
Around March.
Took my trip to Seattle and spent a week with those guys, and we developed a pitch and went forward with that.
Yeah.
It took us a fair bit of iteration, and there's still things that we're talking about to seeing how we can refine it. But the goal was that, having the fixed teleportation points felt very restrictive into the kinds of environments that we could build and the cool moves that you could pull off and stuff like that. One of the really fun things I did was we had this completely overpowered auto-aim throwing system. And so you could just throw a gun up in the air like that, and as long as you were looking in the direction, you knew it was going to hit the robot in front of you. So throw it up like this, and I was like, guys, watch this. So I threw it up. I teleported behind the guy, and I just waited. And then all of a sudden, bang, hits him in the air. He goes flying through the air over my head, and I go bang, 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 bang as he flies through the air. And and the power to be able to do those kinds of those moves, just having the freedom to create absolutely ridiculous moments.
I mean, there's so much more things to explore. Like, so you can find better angle for each situation. So that gave us more like a deeper gameplay. So you leave the robot do a lot of what they want, and then it's the player who tries to find the best place to actually shoot at them. So it
opened up a lot of potential in what we could do in our game.
And for the environment, it's a lot better for the environment. At least they can place a lot of cool thing a bit more everywhere in there. Yeah, it's be better.
So we introduced this kind of juggling mechanic where you can grab a robot by the chest. Actually, the fact that you can kind of interact with the robots at all is kind of new.
So new.
It was something that we really wanted to take advantage of having the motion controllers. And we found that kind of traditional melee in VR is really challenging. There's a couple of games that we've played, and they try to do this, and the lack of kind of force feedback with hitting things in VR is kind of it's really tricky problem to solve.
It feels empty.
Yeah, you go to punch, and it's really hard. And so one of the ways to bring things close to you and have you interact with them and without it feeling quite so bad is to be able to grab things. Grabbing feels great in VR. And so we put these convenient handles on all of the robots so that you can grab them. And that kind of just allowed all sorts of options for us. So with the biped robots, you can grab them, throw them into the air, and then we're like, oh, what happens if you throw them in, after you throw them in the air? So kind of we introduced this juggling mechanic as they boom, 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 stay up in the air, kind of Devil May Cry style.
And then we have those crawlers, also we can grab them, and it became like grenade, and you can throw them at the other robots. Yeah. So each character and each archetype have some sort of interaction. So you have the big bot too, you can actually teleport on top, and then now you can control the hands and the arm, and then you can grab the two robots and smash them together. Yeah. So as much interaction as possible, and use that touch controller as its full potential, I would say.
The way it's built is pretty complicated, but we have a dismemberment system, so you can pull off any of the major limbs, and then use them as weapons to beat up other robots.
As soon as you grab, you will spawn a new object that replaces the previous limb. All those little things. Yeah.
I mean, we put a lot of love into into doing this stuff because it's
pretty satisfying.
It is.
To
it's
grab
super
and
satisfying.
then put those between the cable, then extend, and then snap.
You can grab, if you notice, you can grab, and if you kind of tear a little bit, it kind of separates the joint, and then you see the wires inside, and then you pull a little bit further, and it snaps it all off.
With some sparks going on all the time.
Yeah, we put a lot of care and love into major destruction. It's what we do, Epic Games. It's kind of what we're known for, right? Yeah, absolutely. Robo Recall.
It's a demo. It's a first portion of the full game. So we're gonna have more maps, more robots. We didn't show all the robots that we're gonna use.
More gameplay scenarios.
Yeah.
A lot of weapon unlocks, weapon upgrade system. A lot of things that we haven't shown in the demo.
Yeah.